everyone, and welcome to Empowered Up, a Trinity Hall podcast. My name is Chloe Toole, and I am the Communications Coordinator here at Trinity Hall. I am also an alumna who graduated in 2017 with Trinity Hall's first ever graduating class. I am so excited to be kicking off this podcast for all of you to give you an inside scoop into what happens here at Trinity Hall and the people who make it happen. Today I'm joined by Alyssa Morreale, the Director of College Counseling here at Trinity Hall. Alyssa started out as an English teacher during Trinity Hall's first year, and I was fortunate enough to be her student during my freshman and junior year. Now that I'm a faculty member, Alyssa is my faculty mentor, so sitting here at this table is really a full circle moment for us. Hi Alyssa, thanks for being here.
How are you, Chloe? Thanks for having me. It's really an honor to be on the podcast and not at all a pressure to be your first guest.
I thought we could start off by you introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your background.
Sure. As Chloe mentioned, my name is Alyssa Morreale. I'm now the Director of College Counseling here in my 9th year at Trinity Hall. I started off as our first English teacher and the founding faculty, and then after a couple of years, I was the first humanities team leader. From there, I transitioned into the Dean for Academics and held that role for a couple of years, and I'm really excited about my newest role here as Director of College Counseling.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So what originally drew you to becoming a faculty member at Trinity Hall?
Well, my kind of path to be an educator wasn't a straight one, as Chloe's probably heard me share with her class a few times, I didn't start off wanting to be a teacher. I came from a family of educators. My dad taught for 30 plus years in high schools and was an athletic director and a coach. So that was something I always knew was in my blood. But when I graduated college, I wanted to be a journalist. So I went and got my master's in journalism and started working in public relations for about 5 years. And that was super fun, lots of cool opportunities, met a lot of fun people. But after a few years, I realized it wasn't the career path I wanted, and I wanted something more rewarding. So I followed my heart and fortunately landed a great job at the Petty School, which is about an hour from here, a boarding school, where I was able to teach English and coach swimming. And that really helped me realize what an impact an educator can have on the lives of their students beyond just teaching them information. And so I was there for 10 years. And around that time, I had 2 young children of my own. So the life of a boarding school teacher was just a little more than I could manage with 2 young kids. So I started looking for schools in the area, and my husband and I wanted to move back towards the coast because he's from Ocean County. I started looking for schools where I could teach but still have that community environment that I love so much about the boarding schools that I was in. So very fortuitously at that time was right when Trinity Hall was opening, and I was so happy to know that there was a place like this that was starting for girls. And when I met Mary Scarillo, we hit it off right away, and I knew it was going to be a really special place. So that's how I got here.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think Trinity Hall really has brought that community of what you could get at a boarding school, but in a day school like here.
Absolutely. It's the best of both worlds because it is a small, tight-knit community, and everybody feels like family here. It's not like a big public school or even some of the bigger private schools, where everyone knows each other and really feels comfortable being who they are. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, so when you started here, it was really from scratch.
Yes.
We were brand new.
Yep.
So you were really a crucial part of creating the English curriculum and other parts of the curriculum here at Trinity Hall. So when you were in those meetings in the beginning, what were your hopes for the students who were on the other side of that curriculum, who were going to be sitting in the seats here at Trinity Hall?
Well, the amazing thing about those meetings, we met as a faculty of 10, I think, 10, maybe 12. When we maxed out in the summer of 2013. And it was really great to meet my colleagues for the first time and realize that we all shared this passion for being, as I mentioned, not just teachers, but educators, and to helping these girls who were taking this leap of faith, just like we had, to come to this new school, to realize that being a student, going to school could be so much more fulfilling and rewarding and challenging and wonderful than they had maybe ever thought. So our goals were to create an innovative curriculum that really pushed them to think more critically, more creatively, and really open their minds to more than just learning information. Learning how to be a student of life, learning how to be curious and always looking for answers and more questions. So I think we designed a curriculum that really pushed them to know all the skills they would need to succeed in college and all of that, but also just to be good learners and to be thoughtful citizens of the world. So that was really our big picture goal. And I think over the years we've had to, make changes here and there. But I think we're really onto something, and I think we figured it out.
I was going to say, I'm very fortunate enough to be the student that went through the curriculum, and I think that having those big goals, like becoming a learner of the world, really helps me in college, because you're constantly learning wherever you go. I mean, still to this day, I'm learning here, back here again. But I think those goals really were portrayed to us, and we were able to gain those skills here.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear. And your first class, we did take a lot of notes from you guys. We really owe a lot to you for voicing when things weren't working or when you weren't comfortable with something. And we as teachers wanted to know that what we were doing was, going to have an impact on you. And so we thank you guys for being respectful in your dialogue with us about that. And like I said, just helping us make sure that what we were trying to do was actually what was happening in the classroom. And beyond the classroom,
a big part of your first few years was being the first swim coach here at Trinity Hall. And really the swim team was our first big successful team. Thinking back on those first few years of being the swim coach, what really was one moment that was really gratifying to you?
Wow. Oh, there's so many. It was really a wonderful journey, and it was such an honor to be able to get that program off the ground with the help of some really fabulous first year swimmers that we had, and the years that followed just kept building, and the coaches that we had along the way. But one thing I'll always remember is that first year we had 9 girls on the team, and you really need 18 to to really field a full team. So we had about half the amount we needed to really win meets, but we still made a run for it. We had a lot of talented girls that really put Trinity Hall on the map, but even more so, we had girls that were, again, just risk takers and willing to come out for a team in a sport that they hadn't ever done. I think for me, one of the most memorable moments, all the championships aside, was when one of our swimmers who had never swam before she joined the team, couldn't make it across the pool, finished a 50 freestyle. And I told Chloe I wouldn't cry, but this is the moment where I would cry if, just seeing her make that accomplishment and the team cheering her on and everyone being so excited about that victory for her just really solidified what Trinity Hall swimming and Trinity Hall is all about, is just helping each other achieve goals big and small along the way. So that for me is something that I'll always hold dear.
I think that's one of the things I left Trinity Hall with, was that some accomplishments, which may be small to others, are big to some. So that is something we always celebrated in community meetings and just in everyday life. So I love to hear those stories because they really bring back a lot of memories and just how excited we would get for, the small things.
The small victories, right?
Because
like
they are big for some people.
The catapults that worked in the hallway.
Exactly. I love those moments because they really speak to who we are as a community and celebrating everyone, no matter the accomplishment.
Exactly.
So now you've stepped into a new role as the Director of College Counseling. It's your second year. And what are your new goals for our students as you help them continue on in their education?
Well, I think our biggest goal as a college counseling team and our philosophy is to help our students, our seniors, find their best fit college, right? A lot of times, especially in the independent school environment, there's a lot of pressure to send students off to the top name colleges and the Ivy Leagues and all the top 20 schools. And while that matters in some degree, we want girls to reach and to go to schools that will continue to challenge them. We want them to feel happy where they are, to feel comfortable where they are, and to be pushed in lots of ways to grow and to reach their full potential. So for some students that is the Ivy Leagues, but for some it's not. And just as much as we are proud of the caliber of colleges our girls go off to, we're just as proud of the diversity of the schools on our college list, because it really is about figuring out what each student is looking for and what's going to be the best fit for them to keep finding themselves. We really try hard to help the students think about what it is they're looking for in a school besides the name or the location, right? What type of environment. And it's interesting because some, girls come from here and they're like, it's so small, I want huge, or I like the small environment, and just, seeing where that lands them. And it's a fabulous journey to watch unfold. It's really exciting. It can be nerve-wracking at times. There's a lot of emotions involved, which is, I think, what draws me to it. I like helping students work through those emotions to get to the place where they feel excited for their next step of their journey.
So this might lead into our last question. What advice or inspiration do you have for Trinity Hall students and our listeners?
I think, for me, it's find purpose in what you're doing, because I think that helps you enjoy what you're doing. Every day can get a little dull if you just keep going through the motions. And I think that's what, at the end of the day, brought me to be an educator, was that I wasn't finding the purpose in my prior career. And now here at Trinity Hall, working with the girls on finding a purpose on what they're doing helps remind me of what my purpose is. So I think that that's something to always kind of keep in check when you're feeling kind of the blahs or the blues, is like, what's my purpose here? And just reminding yourself why you do it.
That's great advice. And can really be applicable to anyone at any age.
So,
yeah, it really can.
Sometimes, some days it's hard, but I think most days it will kind of help you hit reset.
I love
refocus,
that.
So.
It's a great note to end on. I want to thank Alyssa Morreale for being our first guest of the Empowered Up podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Being here. You had great answers to my questions.
I hope so.
And I was really glad that you were going to be our first guest, because I feel like it really has come full circle to me being 13 years old in your English class.
It's so exciting to see you come back and see your growth and your path, and to know that you were the first of, you're kind of our guinea pigs to see that it's been a success so far. And I know your classmates are all doing wonderful things too. So, and it's just good to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the first installment of the Empowered Up podcast. Stay tuned for the second episode, which will be coming soon.